Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about a very important topic, Lokpal and Lokayuktas. So now coming to the current affair, the former Supreme Court Judge Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh was finalized by a selection panel as the first head of the Lokpal. So the first Lokpal was constituted recently and this makes it a current affair. So now the first Lokpal being constituted, it is very important to understand what are the provisions of Lokpal and Lokayukta Acts and what are the features, how the composition is made, how selection is made, what are the advantages, what are the limitations or drawbacks, etc. So now the first Lokpal being constituted recently, this is a very important topic for the upcoming competitive examinations, especially the UPSC Civil Services Examination. So in this context, let us analyze what are the features and the significance of Lokpal and Lokayuktas. Now before we begin, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including SSC bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examination, railway examinations, defense examinations, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, CLAT examination for various state PSCs and also for various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com for more details or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. Now let us first understand what is the composition of Lokpal. The Lokpal and the Lokayukta Acts were passed in the year 2013. So, in 2013, the President had given assent to Lokpal and Lokayukta Acts and they have become Acts of the Parliament. Now, after 5 years, that is in 2019, now the first Lokpal has been constituted and we have already discussed about it. So, this is the most important current affair and that is why we expect a question in the upcoming competitive examinations from Lokpal and Lokayuktas. Now, the Lokpal is the anti-corruption ombudsman at the national level. So, this is Lokpal and the equivalent of Lokpal at the states is Lokayukta. So, national anti-corruption ombudsman is the Lokpal and at the state level it is the Lokayukta. Now, under the 2013 Act, the Lokpal should consist of a chairman or a chairperson and such number of members not exceeding 8. So, the composition would be chairman or the chairperson plus maximum of 8 members. And the Act also mandates that out of the total members in the Lokpal, at least 50% of the members should be judicial members. And also not less than 50% of the members should be from among the persons belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, other backward caste, minorities and women. This is to give a broad representation from all the categories. Now, 50% judicial members are mandatory and not less than 50% from communities of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBCs, minorities and women. And the same rules of 50% of judicial members and 50% representation from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBCs, minorities and women apply for the search committee as well. Now let us understand how is the selection done. So there is a search committee as well as a selection committee. So the selection procedures for the members and the chairperson are the same. So there is no difference in the selection of chairperson and also the members. So first there will be a search committee and the search committee's purpose is to prepare a panel of candidates and this panel of candidates or the recommendations of the search committee will be given to the selection committee which will recommend the names for the Lokpal. And now on the recommendation of the selection committee, the appointment is made by the President. Now coming to the selection committee, the Lokpal selection committee is headed by the Prime Minister and the other members of the selection committee includes the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Leader of Opposition in the lower house that is in the Lok Sabha, the Chief Justice of India and also an eminent jurist who would be nominated by the President or any other member. So this is the composition of the selection committee for Lokpal and the selection committee will finally recommend the names to the President and finally the President will make the appointment of the members and the chairperson of the Lokpal. Now coming to the salaries, allowances and service conditions of the Lokpal chairperson, it will be same as that of CJI or the Chief Justice of India. So the chairperson of the Lokpal will enjoy the same salary, allowances and service conditions as that of the Chief Justice of India. And coming to other members in the Lokpal, the other members in the Lokpal will be getting salaries, allowances and service conditions which are similar to the judge of a Supreme Court. So here you should remember that even though the selection procedures for the members and the chairperson are the same, the salary, allowances and the service conditions are different for the chairperson and for the members. So chairperson enjoys the privileges of the Chief Justice of India, while the members get the salary, allowances and conditions of service according to a judge of the Supreme Court. But for chairperson and the members, the selection procedure is the same. Now there are two wings for Lokpal. One is the inquiry wing and the second one is the prosecution wing. So after the selection of the members, the Lokpal will set out to create various wings. So it will have an inquiry wing. So purpose of the inquiry wing is to conduct inquiries, and the inquiry wing is headed by the director of inquiry. So it will be headed by a director, and its objective is to conduct preliminary inquiry into any offence that is allegedly committed by a public servant. So if a public servant commits any offence or a crime which will come under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, the inquiry wing will conduct a preliminary inquiry into the offence. Now the second wing is the prosecution wing, and this will be also headed by a director, the director of prosecution. Now the purpose of the prosecution wing is to prosecute public servants in relation to any complaint by the Lokpal under this act. Now after the constitution of Lokpal, that is when the members of the Lokpal, the chairperson and the members are appointed, after that other members will also be appointed. So after the appointment of chairperson and the members, other appointments will follow. So this other appointments means the appointment of the secretary, director of inquiry, director of prosecution, other officers, the staff of the Lokpal, etc. Now coming to the ambit of the act, what all provisions does the act cover? So generally we can say that Lokpal covers all the public servants. So we should understand what is the definition of public servants in the context of application of the Lokpal Act. So the Act covers a wide range of public servants with various rules for each category of the public servants. So this definition of public servants includes the Prime Minister of the country, the ministers handling various portfolios, all the members of the parliament, again A, B, C and D group employees of the central government. So all of them comes under the ambit of public servants or falls under the definition of public servants according to Lokpal Act. And another thing to be remembered here is that it shall also apply to all the public servants inside and outside India. So the foreign diplomats will also come under the ambit of Lokpal Act, and it also includes the Lokpal's own members under the definition of public servants. That means the chairperson and the members of the Lokpal itself will come under the definition of public servants. And another important feature of Lokpal is that a complaint under the Lokpal Act shall only relate to a period during which the public servant was holding the office or serving in the capacity. That means the Lokpal Act will only apply for any offence or crime committed during the holding of public service or the office. Now let us also understand about the inquiry procedure. The Lokpal, after receiving a complaint against any public servant, can order for a preliminary inquiry, and the preliminary inquiry needs to be completed within 90 days. And after receiving the report of the preliminary inquiry, the Lokpal can order for an investigation by any agency or any departmental proceedings. Now let us understand what are the limitations of Lokpal. Now one major limitation is regarding the inquiry against the Prime Minister. So if a complaint is filed against the Prime Minister, the Lokpal shall inquire or cause an inquiry to be conducted into the allegation of corruption. But the Act does not allow a Lokpal inquiry if the allegation against the Prime Minister relates to certain things like international relations, external and internal security of the country, public order, atomic energy and space. So if the complaint is regarding any of these provisions like the international relations, security, public order, atomic energy or space, the Lokpal does not have a provision for conducting an inquiry against the Prime Minister of the country. And also the complaints against the Prime Minister are not to be probed unless the full Lokpal bench considers the initiation of an inquiry. So a consensus is required among the Lokpal members for initiation or starting the inquiry, and this has to be supported by at least 2/3 members of the Lokpal. So 2/3 approval is required in order to conduct an inquiry against the Prime Minister. And also, if in a case an inquiry is conducted against the Prime Minister, it has to be held in a camera. And if the Lokpal concludes that the complaint deserves to be dismissed, the records of the inquiry are not to be published or it cannot be made available to anyone. So these are certain limitations of inquiry against the Prime Minister. Now briefly about Lokayuktas. Lokayuktas are the state equivalents of the central Lokpal. At the central level we have Lokpal, and the state equivalent of Lokpal is the Lokayuktas. So the state governments have to establish the Lokayukta at the state level in order to deal with the complaints on corruption against the public functionaries in the states or the public servants in the states. So this is a state level mechanism, and in some states the Lokayuktas are already functioning after the 2013 Lokayukta and Lokpal acts were passed, but a majority of the states do not have a Lokayukta even after the 2013 act. Now recently the Supreme Court has directed all the states who have not yet formed a Lokayukta in order to make appointments to the Lokayukta. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries regarding your preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page, or you can email me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com. Thank you.